Darwin and his cousin Sir Francis Galton, they developed the idea of the theory of social Darwinism, that the elite killing us, murdering us, enslaving us is good because it's survival of the fittest, and they're making us stronger by doing it and getting rid of the useless eaters. That's a Hitler quote that he got from of course, a eugenicist that came before him. And there is some, truth to breeding and genetics and intelligence, and there is something to be said for some of, so obviously, but it's the way they go about it, what they're pushing, what they're trying to do. So a lot of people go, well, eugenics sounds good to me, but they don't understand what the true, final, penultimate goal of eugenics is. That is exterminating their competition, the bad sons or the rogues that grow up out of the midst. It's really trying to dumb the mass down for orderly extermination, not just orderly extermination of the dumb mass, but actually orderly extermination of everybody but the elite. The ultimate form of war. And you look at the beginnings of computers, the founder of the modern computer, Thomas Watson. You look at the founders of the human genome. I mean, it's right there out of the Cold Springs Harbor with the former top eugenist scientist running the human genome. Remember having to quit last year, saying blacks weren't human, basically. Another Mr. Watson, not related to Thomas Watson of IBM. And then you find out that Prince Philip, Ted Turner, their mommy, their daddy, their grandpa were all obsessed. The Rockefellers, over 100 eugenics groups they set up. Planned Parenthood, the list goes on, funding Hitler, funding the Kaiser Wilhelm Institute. You find out that the name social services, the social workers, the assessments, bioethics, all of it's out of eugenics. The royalty and the international banking cartels bought into this when it was rock star popular, the law in the U.S. to sterilize and kill babies and everything else you can imagine. And so all the institutions were set up along these lines. The institutions were set up to do this and carry this out. So Endgame covers it, and it takes intense. We've read scores of books here, research, sent off for university letters, just spent sometimes 18 hours freaking out looking at it all, and then you can't even put it in a film. It's so horrible you can't even. And now they turn into the transhumanist, and they say it's eugenics, and they're going to force us to have chips, and they're going to micromanage us and remote control us, and they say that it's official government policy to do it. 800 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 2,300 years ago with Plato and the Republic. He said we're going to have a suboid mass that we breed to be dumb and servile that we'll control, and that if we get better machines, we can exterminate them because. And he foresaw large mechanical devices in factories, and he said we won't even need as many of the slaves then, or we can just kill them out. And he coined the term eugenics, meaning eternal youth. And then the nobles knew how to control populations. They would keep the population on 5-10% of the land, starving at subsistence level, 1.5 feet shorter from malnutrition generationally than the elites, riding around on their horses all clean, laughing at the peasants with vomit down the front of them, starving to death with 1/3 of their children born from in utero retardation from lack of nourishment. They have that same problem in many rural areas of China. 1/3 of the kids are retarded. Just enjoying riding by all the poor retarded people, and while that was their enjoyment. I mutate you, I starve you, I control. And then that's their mode to keep their control. Only they could have bows, only they could have knives, only they could have swords and shields. They were a different species. They thought that 1,000 years ago. And so this is their philosophy, this is their idea, this is their power trip, this is their looking down their nose at you, this is who they are, this is what they do. Do you understand?